Good morning, children. Children, today we are going to start with tenses, and after your half yearlies, this is the first chapter that we are going to do for the second term. Children, before the half yearlies, I gave you an introduction about the difference between time and tense. And we discussed that time is divided into three, which is the past, the present, and the future. Okay, if you remember, I told you that the difference between time and tense is that tenses are the verb forms which are used as per the time. So that means that if a verb has different forms, when those forms are used under different times, then we call it a tense. All right. Before moving ahead with the types of tenses, I would first like to revise the different verb forms that we have already done. I feel that revision of verb forms is very, very important for the tenses. Okay. So, children, for the understanding of tenses, I am going to write that the verb has got the base form, first form, the second form, the third form, and the ing form. Okay, so these are the five forms of verb. Like I have said, base form. Now I will be telling you what is the difference between the base form and the first form. Okay, now the base form is also called the root form of the verb, and it is the verb itself. For example, if I take the verb have, okay, so the have is a verb, and the base form of have or the root form of a have is have only, whereas the first form is made by using s or es. So we say that the first form of have is has and have. Now, why there are two here? Because the singular one is used for the singular with the singular subject. The plural one will be used for the plural subject. Second form of the verb is made by adding d or ed. Okay, so have second form is had, third form is also had, and ing form is having. Okay, let me take another example of a verb. Okay, the verb, let's say it's play. Okay, first form is play and plays. Now this is the plural form of the verb, and this is the singular form of the verb. So always the first form of the verb will include both verbs for singular as well as plural. Okay, then the second form of the verb play is played. The third form is played again. Okay, and the ing form is playing. Now, why I am telling you the different verb forms? Because it is very, very essential for us to understand these forms so as to form tenses or form sentences in correct tense. Okay. Now, the importance of base form. Okay, whenever, please listen to me very carefully. Whenever in a sentence we use forms of do forms are used. What are the do forms? Do forms like do, does, did. Anywhere in the sentence these forms are used. Remember, children, the verb which follows the verb forms after the do verb forms will always be the base form of the verb. Are you understanding me? For example, if I say that do you have a pen? Now here do is a verb, okay, and every time the next verb which is following will always be in the base form. Okay, for example, let me give you another example. If I say he does not have a pen. Now the mistake which children generally make is that they write here has. He does not has a pen. That is wrong. Why? Because I'm sure many of you must have heard that song. baby ko base pasand hai, isn't it? So similarly, I tell my children that do form ko kya pasand hai? Base pasand hai. So do form is always followed by verbs base form. Whenever in a sentence you have do form, maybe do, does, did, always and always it will be followed by the verb base form. So like if you see, he does not have a pen, has will be wrong. Okay, this is essential for understanding, because we need to know when we are framing questions. Okay, that if I say, did you have or had a pen, if I say this thing, okay, now did you have a pen is right. Why? Because did is the form of do, and as I told you earlier, that always do ko base pasand hai. So after do form, always the base form of the verb will come, base form, not the second form or not the first form. Clear? So did you have a pen is right. Did you had a pen is wrong. Okay, I know that the sentence is in past tense, but past tense is denoted by this verb, not by this verb. Okay, it's a very important thing, children. Now, children, framing of questions we have already covered in the earlier chapter. So, I am going to start with the simple tense, or which we call the indefinite tense. Okay, so before moving ahead, I told you that the base form of the verb is always used after do forms. So after do forms, always the verb base form will be used. Okay. Similarly, for the first form of the verb, first form is always used for the present tense. It can be present indefinite, present continuous, present perfect, perfect continuous. So first form of the verb will always be used for the present tense. If you see the second form of the verb is always used to denote the past tense. Past tense, it can be past perfect, past continuous, past perfect continuous, simple past tense. So any of the past tenses are denoted by the second form of the verb. Okay. Now the third form and the ing form, they are used to form the perfect tenses and the continuous tense. Okay, um, this we will be learning in our next coming sessions. Okay, so today I am going to take up the simple present tense. All right, I hope all of you have understood this thing. All right.